I absolutely loved Queen of the Ring so much. It is probably the best wrestling biopic or best wrestling movie I've seen since Mickey Rourke in The Wrestler. It
Oh,
was that good. As a fan of the sport for the last 4 decades, I really appreciated what you guys did with this and telling Mildred's story. So congratulations.
oh, thank you.
Ash, I guess I just want to start with you. The film, it's very different in tone from your previous work, American Satan, the follow-up, Paradise City. And obviously you can't help but draw the comparison to some of your father's work, 8 Seconds, Karate Kid, Rocky. So I guess chat me up a little bit about his inspiration on the movie or how you wanted to pay tribute to him with this, while, at the same time making it your own.
Yeah, I started when I first got the book, my dad was still alive, who I didn't meet till I was 34, but we become really close very fast. And we started reading the book together, and we found ourselves, we did a thing where it was like, all right, you read it and I'm gonna read it. And we don't tell each other anything, and we're gonna underline what we think are like the best moments and lines and scenes, and like we're gonna trade the books. And I'm gonna probably get emotional, but yeah, like we did that, and there was such magical synchronicity with what we both chose. Like I tell everyone anytime talking about the movie, like please get the book. Like the movie is like a tiny fraction of the story. It really should have been a miniseries, and maybe it still can be if the movie does well. Like there's so much to it. Like the book is like it should be 8 hours at least. Um, but we were drawn, both of us, to a lot of the same scenes and moments, which was great. And look, it's really challenging, like trying to make something like this with the pressure of when people research, and then I mean, it's a
Yeah.
whole ball of wax. But yeah, I wanted to be true to the main parts of her story that I think are the most timeless and impactful, while also giving people in the theater the feeling at the end that we all look for, but without sugarcoating it. And staying true to the heart that it was a single mom and her kid kind of against the world as they navigated a really just rough life dealing with Billy.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. I think, even non-wrestling fans, I think, can connect to this because I was raised by a single mom. And that's one of the aspects, aside from the wrestling, that I connected to the most with this, with Mildred's story. It was really, inspirational.
yeah, yeah, and like uh, as far as like the way the story is told in the movie, I did it in a way that I felt, you know, I've obviously looked at all my dad's movies, so much. It was such a different time in the 70s, 80s, and 90s culturally. And
Mhm.
there's definitely a version of this where there's way less scenes and I just stay in these moments. But because it's nonfiction and there's like so much to pull into, I'm like, I want to do this in a way where, okay, what happens next? And keep them on a ride and then slow it down when we really, really need it to. But there's so much story to put in, and there's an hour that we've cut out because it's
Oh,
just,
wow.
yeah, there's just
Wow.
there's just so, like, I just tell everyone, if you have any interest in the movie, get the book, because the movie will never be as good as the book. There's just too much story, and there's so much nuance, and there's just so much in Jeff Lean's book that which is why I immediately fell in love with it and decided not to tell a fictional story, which was my original plan with doing a pro wrestling movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, it's almost like he could do an anthology series as such. It focuses on, it's obviously Mildred's story, but there's so many historical figures in there, like Mae Young, June Byer. Each one could have their own series by themselves.
yeah, we just played in Buffalo, and people were asking. I was like, like, with how much story there is, like Mildred and her son is its own movie. Mildred and her relationship with Billy's son, her stepson, is its own movie. Like Mae Young is its own movie. Gorgeous George is its own movie. These weren't one dimensional, people or plots. So it was really I torture myself going like, how do we put this in into 2 hours and change? Because I know as like an unknown director on an indie film, as soon as you go over 2 hours and change, like get lost, kiddo. So it's like
Unless you're
trying to get it
Terrifier,
in there.
right? Unless you're Terrifier and Damien
Yeah.
Leone.
Yeah. Which
uh,
by the way, kudos to them. What a
yeah, absolutely,
fantastic
right?
success story for a small budget indie, man. Yeah.
Emily, fantastic performance in this. I love the way you brought Mildred to life. Dare I say it's on par right up there with Hilary Swank and Million Dollar Baby. I don't like to make those comparisons, but it was that good. It was so good. So kudos to you.
Wow, thank you very much.
But a little tongue-in-cheek question here. Who's the first person you called when you got the role of Mildred Burke, and why wasn't it Stephen Amell?
Well, yeah, I guess, yeah, well, my friend Brady is the only person I knew who was a wrestler.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, Brady Roberts goes by Brady Malibu. He happens to be in the same town that I am in. It was all, Ash and I have spoken to sort of the synchronicity of this role, but I'm not sure if you know this, Ash. There's no wrestling in Vancouver besides this one company that was starting at the time, sort of getting itself off the ground at the time I got the script. And I asked him, I was like, hey, can you show me some moves? And he goes, there's actually a pop-up ring on Friday. It was like Wednesday. It's the only time. It'll be there for 24 hours. So that was like, it was just like wham bam, you know. Um,
What was
yeah,
it like taking your first flat back bump?
I didn't do it that day. I did that with Al Snow at OVW, and I'm pretty sure he scoop slammed me. And Dougie Basham, who was also a trainer of ours, saw me hit the ground, saw my eyes open like this, and I just remember his face back to me like we were both just like looking at each other with eyes wide, and I was like, "Whoa."
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
yeah, I mean, they were teaching me the real deal. I didn't take as many bumps as Mildred takes in it. Kelly Phelan, my stunt double, did a lot of those. I mean, she's phenomenal. She makes Mildred and I in the movie look incredible. What a trained athlete. But just to the style of shooting and how much we had to shoot, it would have been kind of ridiculous for me to take that many bumps. But I was getting trained, that's for sure.
That's fantastic. And it was such an amazing ensemble cast of actors and wrestlers brought together. I guess chat me up a little bit, Emily, about the vibe on set and perhaps maybe the funnest day you guys had shooting. I have an idea of what it might be, but
Yeah.
I want to hear from you what your fun day was.
Well, interesting. I'd love to know what day.
I look just looking at the film, I would think that maybe it was the pool party scene going into the
Oh yeah.
1950s because that had to be a blast to shoot as an actor.
Actually, yeah, that was really fun, though. That's not what came to mind. I was thinking
Yeah.
of I mean, some of the wrestling stuff was really fun. I mean, it's intense. We were trying to get a lot done in a short period of time, and I'd been trained to wrestle, but not a wrestler. So there's trying to get myself on board at the same time and doing justice to Mildred. But Ash has used the term like kind of like a summer camp because we were all there
Mhm.
sort of bonding and training and rehearsing together. And I think when you add that with such extreme physicality, like you really are becoming very close.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of we did have a lot of fun on set. It was an intense shoot, but I'm trying to think like what the most fun was. I loved working with Tony Storm. I mean, she's a delight. Kaylee is incredible. She knows so much and led me through so much of the wrestling. Um, yeah, I have to
It's all
give
good.
honor
It's
to
all
them.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kaylee's got that connection to the NWA as well, so that was,
Well, I
that
mean,
added in.
there
Yeah, it
you
was
go. Synchronicity.
synchronicity. All right. In contrast, I guess, Ash, for you as a director, what was the most challenging aspect of this? I mean, because you had the actors, you had you had to control the crowd. So I imagine there were a lot of moving pieces. Was that a challenge at times for you?
Yeah, I mean the hardest part I think is the shoot schedule. The amount of story we have to tell
Mhm.
in Kentucky with period everything, and just making the day and deciding what to focus on and what to kind of sacrifice for the greater good of other scenes and moments. But we were really fortunate with the cast and crew that we got.
Mhm.
Um, it could have gone much differently had we been in another city with another team. We were very, very fortunate, and I'm just eternally grateful for what we were able to capture with our shooting schedule and our budget. It was I think we made something really, really special. One thing I wanted to say about that pool scene,
Yeah.
we we didn't have, again, like the serendipity of everything. We didn't have a location for a pool that was supposed to be like a spectacular West Coast pool, and we also couldn't find Mildred's Hollywood Hills house. And we're getting ready to like start production, and like those are like the two last things that we're trying to find. I'm like, where am I going to find a Hollywood Hills house in Kentucky? None of the hotels had pools, by the way, in like Louisville, other than like one like I think it was like the Omni. They had like a super modern rooftop that would never work. So we were like going like 30, 45 minutes out of town. And then the guy I was renting an Airbnb from, which was above a place called Millie's Bakery, which was, again, just weird serendipity. He's like, hey man, you got to come to see this guy's pool. We're going to hang out this weekend. I'm like, dude, I got like a matter of days to shoot. I'm still trying to like fix all these things in the script to pull off I was like, I can't. He goes, come on, just come meet this guy. He's really a character. I go, it's like 100 degrees out. I'm like, all right, fine. I'll go to this pool thing for like an hour. I get to this guy's house. He's from Malibu, moved to Kentucky because he's like a restaurateur, but he was the guy that like did the Got Milk campaign. I show up, spectacular house, looks like it was taken right out of the Hollywood Hills, beautiful pool. He has all the plants that he takes from the West Coast because he's such a California guy, and he puts the plants all over outside, which is you see in the movie. And I'm like, do you really import all these plants? He goes, yeah, I put them in storage in the winter so they don't die. I go, this is unbelievable. This is like a standing set for exactly what we had. And then we were able to combine the pool scene, which was really going to be at a hotel, with Mildred House. And it was just, we got so lucky that
Wow.
that guy invited us to his pool that day, because I wasn't going to go. And then we got there. And again, it's like Emily's performance. Like I can't see that scene anywhere else now because that location is so great. It's one of my, favorite locations in the whole movie. Just his house totally captured. It feels like we're in the Hollywood Hills in the 50s. And we got really, really lucky. I don't know, the movie gods, the wrestling gods, Mildred, someone was looking over us, like handing us that location, because it would have been, I don't know what we would have done, honestly, like in Louisville. We were even talking about, do we have to pick it up and do like 2 days in LA or something to get
Wow.
that scene? Because there's just nothing in Kentucky that looked like it.
What a fantastic story. Oh my God. It's amazing you pulled that off. Fantastic.
Very lucky.
Um, all right, so it's already had its showing in Buffalo. It plays, I think you're in Portland today for a showing, Newport Beach this weekend. Positive reception so far on the festival circuit. I mean, with the one showing in Buffalo anyway.
No one walked out, and they all stayed to the end and asked questions. So we've all
Okay.
been in movies before. We're like, you know what? I'm gonna go get some air or
Oh, that's
something.
great. Woo!
Yeah.
Fantastic,
So
man.
far, so good.
I'm really hoping for a wider release, hopefully next year, man. It is absolutely fantastic. The world deserves to see Mildred's story and Emily's performance. Kudos to you guys once again for making a fantastic movie. And
Uh,
thank you for your time today.
Thank you, James, for
Thanks,
having me.
James.